Salutations, prospective viewers. I am George from Ireland. So I'm standing outside Orleans House in London, what remains of it. So construction commenced in 1702 with two very distinguished architects, John James and James Gibbs, building it, and they were building it for a well-known diplomat and politician who'd been instrumental in shoehorning George, the Elector of Hanover, into the British monarchy, because well, Queen Anne was due to die. She was hugely obese, and she had no surviving children with her husband, the Prince of Denmark. She had one son who was mentally subnormal, who died in his early teens. So her closest Protestant relative was George, the Elector of Hanover. And so when she died in 1714, George I came over here, became King of Great Britain, and indeed King of Ireland. Seldom returned to Hanover. But anyway, so that diplomat, this was his place, but it wasn't finished for 35 years. And it's quite close to the Thames. You can't quite make out the Thames because of the trees. So it's a very wooded area even now. I'll give you the twirl. But it was very much in the countryside back in the early 18th century. Anyway, this is the Octagon part of it. And, well, many distinguished personages lived here and visited it over the years. But it derives its name from Le Duc d'Orléans, as in Louis Philippe. So remembering the French Revolution, well, one of the cousins of Louis XVI was Le Duc d'Orléans, as in the Duke of Orleans. And he'd gone along with the revolution and signalled his complete acceptance of a Republican Nostra, so much so he actually changed the surname to Égalité, as in equality. But anyway, things went wrong for him when Napoleon was defeated, and he fled to this country. He lived in here from 1813 to 1815. Later, he returned to France, and he then became King of France in 1830, July 1830, when his cousin Charles X was overthrown. So the Bourbons were gone, and their relatives, the Orleans family, the Orleans dynasty, came in. The July monarchy, it's sometimes called, since they became the monarchs in July 1830. That lasted to the spring of 1848, the year of revolutions, Le Banquet des Mères, and all the rest of it. I shan't tell you the whole story now, because you know, that was the end. That was the start of the Second Republic. Anyway, so here you see how fine and handsome it is. Unfortunately, a lot of it was demolished in the 1930s. Only a small section of it still survives. But it's been an art gallery since 1972. We can't go inside today. You can usually go inside because, but it's closed because they're setting up a new exhibition, which is why some man was rigging up lights outside. You might have seen a little while ago. But if you look in the window, you can see the chandeliers. You can see these splendid ceilings. Various busts up there. Is very bright. Okay, it's well, incomparable, certainly in this part of London. So we shall move on. Anyway, so there's a service block where the stables are, a little cafe there. So then we'll go around the corner. You'll see some of the late 20th century extensions of it, which are just to make it a bit more viable as a gallery. Places with people coming in and out, which are otherwise unremarkable. So that's Orleans House Gallery. So mainly you'd visit as an art gallery. It's an architectural gem in itself, but particularly the interior architecture. But as I said, sadly, only a fraction of the original edifice still stands, because, you know, in the early 20th century, there were not that many listed buildings. The whole scheme had begun in the late 19th century, but people didn't appreciate the architectural heritage as much as they do these days. So it took the loss of some of these delightful buildings to get people to sit up and take notice, and the need for legislation to be passed, which gave protected status to various buildings. Are they, you know, grade 1 or grade 2 listed building, as in how much change are they allowed to affect to these things? All right, so I'll switch it off now. Please.